Hi everybody, my name is Kaylee. I am an artist, quilter, and illustrator in North Carolina, and thank you so much for being here with me today. Whether you're a new viewer or a returning one, I really appreciate it. I mean it every time I say it. Thank you so much for being here today. This week's video is a little bit different this week, if you couldn't already tell by the title. And yes, we are making a pendulum mat for my haunted doll. It's no secret that I do collect dolls. I have an assortment of them on my wall above my studio desk in this very room here. I really cherish antique dolls, and I've kind of been tiptoeing in the hobby for about like 2 years or so now. I got my first one just a couple of years ago, but I'm very selective and I'm very particular with what I enjoy and what I like to bring into my collection. And I have put a couple different doll hauls here on this channel before in other little Stitch Witch vlogs. So you've probably seen me show a doll a time or two here, but I've never invested or dabbled into the haunted doll realm of, I guess, like Etsy and eBay, just the internet in general. It's something that's always intrigued me and is not something I totally invested myself into until very recently. So yeah, I purchased a haunted doll about a little over a month ago at this point by the time this video goes out, so I'm very new to the whole thing, but I'm a very spiritual person. That's no secret either. I use a lot of my magical practice within my sewing. Like, I'm a self-titled Stitch Witch, so with my interest in dolls and my interest in my spiritual side and practicing magic, it is something I would naturally kind of lean towards, I suppose, eventually. But yes, it wasn't until very recently that I acquired a haunted doll of my own. And so we need to get into a couple of things here as we start this video. And first off, I understand you're probably like, why do you have a haunted doll? And I would love to explain that to you. So I have not done this a lot in my spiritual practice, but you know, I read tarot, I've illustrated a couple of oracle decks, and on only a couple of occasions have I dabbled in what's beyond on the other side. And when I've felt the call to reach through the veil onto the other side, I have had some pretty successful experiences, and they've really been life-changing in some ways. So part of me was interested in having something that I could reach to that other side on almost like a normal / day-to-day basis. So that was my main incentive for wanting to bring this doll into my home, and so far it's been a great experience. She is wonderful, and I know this may sound like so woo-woo to some people, but like, just trust me. But I've had so many moments with her that are just like undeniable. So I will actually not be showing her in this video. She has asked me not to. I've communicated with her and asked her, and she prefers to stay private. She's a very private kind of spirit. She will not be actually in this video, but she is lovely. I've had really a great time with her. But yes, that is just a very brief history about her. Like I said, she's very private, so I want to respect that. But with her being here and me mentioning that I'm communicating with her, you might be wondering how I'm doing that. And I'm doing that with a pendulum. If you are unfamiliar with what a pendulum is, it is essentially an object on a like string or chain of some sort that uses energy to give you different answers. All the questions I've been asking her at this point have been yes or no questions. So for me, yes is back and forth, and then no is side to side. So that is how we've been working together. But I thought it would be kind of fun to dabble with the idea of creating a pendulum mat. And this is very similar to a Ouija board, where there are letters and yes or no's, and sometimes numbers on the board, and the pendulum can sway in any direction to name a letter or name a number or name a yes or no. So I thought that would be really fun to not only have a pendulum mat, but I thought we could totally make one ourselves and have it be a quilted pendulum mat. And you might be wondering exactly how this works. Aside from saying it's magic, a pendulum works with your energy. And I have been working with a pendulum for years, and they are something that I use a lot in my practice, even before this haunted doll journey, but I really enjoy them. I find them to be very accurate, and I've, like I said, used them for years. You can use something like a necklace as a pendulum, whether you just want to take the necklace and have the pendant hanging down. You can get a pendulum like this one, which is very widely available online and in different metaphysical stores. And I'm also planning to make my own pendulum with a glass prism, some crystals, those kinds of things. I'm just waiting for those materials to come in, but I love working with pendulum so much. I use it to answer questions from my subconscious. I've used it to find things that I've lost and then I find them with the pendulum. Like, they just have a lot of uses. They're really fun and they work with the energy that's around them. So whether it's your energy, someone else's energy, an object's energy, everything has energy. So it can work with it in a variety of ways. And one of my favorite things to do with a pendulum and to show how they work with energy is to actually take a crystal or a stone, put it on a surface and work with the pendulum so it'll eventually encircle and encase the crystal without me having to influence it. It's a pretty cool thing to try for yourself, and I would totally recommend it as just like an intro to see if pendulums are for you or if there's something that interests you. Give it a whirl and see what happens. You might be surprised. I mean, I'd love to take a moment here to pull out my iPad and sketch some ideas for how I'm kind of envisioning this pendulum board to look, just so you get an idea before we actually dive into things. So let's go ahead and get started on this drawing. So if we think about a Ouija board, let's just roughly think here. We have, usually it's like some kind of arch, and there's usually things across the bottom here. Maybe there's something here and here. And on this arch here, we have all of our letters, if that makes sense. Sorry, this is like a very loose sketch, but I think you can get the idea of what I'm going with here. And I want to do something similar. And if you look at a lot of pendulum mats online, all of their information is organized in this sort of circular shape, which I think could be fun, but I want to kind of create this like mat situation where it is more of a square shape. But if you have these two rows here that we're seeing, the pendulum is going to just go in one direction at a time. So it can be kind of confusing if you have layered pieces of text here. So if you have like A, B, C, D, and then E, F, G on the bottom row, and it's pointing in one direction, you might not be able to tell whether it's talking about B or G. Like, you just don't know. So I've thought about that, and I'm trying to think of a way that I can kind of circumvent that idea without making it into a circular shape. I hope this makes sense. I've been doing a lot of thinking about it, but no actual explanations of it. So I hope this makes sense so far. So what I'm thinking is we're going to have our rectangular base as usual, and then we have 26 letters we have to account for. So what I'm kind of thinking is about doing two rows, one being in, let me just change the color, one being in this sort of lineage, and then another one being in this sort of lineage. So if we take this, for example, our color, we'll have like one letter up here, one letter up down here, and then we'll have 6 on either side of that main central letter. 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that should be 26 if I'm doing my math correctly. I think it kind of creates this interesting eye shape, and hopefully that translates when everything is said and done, because I think that'd be kind of cool. And I'm not 100% certain if I want to include numbers on this. We'll just see what happens. But in the center here, I thought it would be fun to have our traditional yes and no little template, so it really will be kind of eye shape. I have not decided on fabrics, colors, anything like that, but if I had to guess, I would think that this chartreuse color will come into play at some point, and this is tentatively what I'm thinking for now. We'll see how it goes. I'm looking forward to making this with you and seeing what turns out. And that is it for me for now. I believe we have everything pretty much covered. I'm going to finish my tea here, take a nice little break, and then I will touch base with you when we start assembling the base for our pendulum mat. Hi everyone. Clearly it is a different day. Hello, we are here. I am just getting started with actually sewing some pieces for this pendulum mat. And I've been kind of toying with what I wanted to do. I didn't know if I wanted to do like pleats throughout the whole thing, kind of like the checkerboard crisscross that I did for one of my mini framed quilts in a past video. I wasn't sure if I just wanted to applique things on. I kind of took a wing with these random 9 patches, but that didn't feel right. But ultimately what I decided to do was to go back to one of my favorite little quilt blocks that I did in my previous quilt with these little cross sections. Basically it's like little squares appliqued on a bigger square, and the negative space creates this little crisscross. I just went ahead and pulled some fun fabrics that I thought would look nice, and actually my doll picked out the thread color that we're going to use, which is DMC 606. I gave her the option of 3 different threads. It was this one, which is a really bright fluorescent orange. And then I also gave her the option of like a salmon-y color, and then one that is kind of like between a salmon and a hot pink. So they're all bright warm tones, but this is the one she ended up choosing, and I love it. The fabrics that I ended up choosing, you can see in this little 9 patch that I made. So it's going to be pinks and purples of this kind of shade range, this dusty blue color, and then the chartreuse as well. But we are not doing the shape like I mentioned. We're doing these little shapes. So here are 2 that I made. I'm just going to make a bunch of these and figure out how to attach them later. I'm not super worried or concerned about that part. I just want to make a bunch of them and assemble them later. And the size of this mat that I want to do is going to be pretty large, just because I think it will need to be on the larger side with all of the letters and the numbers, etc., etc. So I'm thinking 18 by 24 roughly. So we do have quite a bit of work to do because these are on the smaller side, but I don't think I'll go any smaller than this. And this is about 3.5 by 3.5. So just for reference, that is the size of it. These are really easy to make. Like I said, you're just basically appliquing little squares on top of a larger square, but I'll go ahead and walk you through one right now, just in case you want to attempt this for yourself. You can see that bright orange thread popping up on the applique edges here, which I think looks so nice. I think it'll be a really cool little pop of color, and I appreciate that this was the color that was chosen. Let me go ahead and turn you around so you can see what I'm doing, and we can make another one of these together. We are here. I hope this angle is okay. It's so hard for me to work with like a direct above angle, like where the camera is like right in my face, so I have you off to the side a little bit, but I think you can see what I'm doing here. These are our 2 little pieces that we've made so far, or that, you know, I've made off camera. And let's go ahead and make another one. So I think let's go ahead and use this heathery pink color. I think that would be nice. So I'm just gonna cut a square of it first. And like I said, this is probably as small as I'll go, and this what I would say is like a medium size. And 18 by 24 is this entire mat here. So we have quite a bit of negative space to fill. So I'm not too scared to go a little bit larger here. What I think I'll do is I'm just gonna free ball it. And you can tell that I'm not really particular about how I cut my fabrics or cut into them, because this is just folded up in a pile from when I received it. So I just need to cut a little bit higher, I think. I also knew this was like 2 layers of fabric, so I'm just gonna go ahead and cut down the middle here, and then we'll save this for later. And now this is our rough square, and it's definitely not a square, so I'm just gonna trim it up a little bit. And then next we're gonna cut out the piece of fabric for these little 4 squares here. And I'm gonna use the chartreuse one, I think. I think that would be nice. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna rough chop a piece of fabric that is the same size as this one. And now we need to turn this rough square into 4 smaller squares. So what I do to do that is I just gently fold it in half and cut down the middle. And now we have this rectangle. And again, eyeball it and cut somewhere kind of down the middle. And now we have 4 little squares and our 1 big square. So we can go ahead and start appliquing these down, and you can do it in different ways. Like this is very much like a whip stitch to applique it down. Same with this one. I have done little like running stitches, and maybe we'll do that for this one just to have a little bit, you know, something different. Hope you can see this. I just tuck my edge under like I'm gonna do a regular applique. This is probably 1/8 of an inch. It's pretty narrow. Usually I work with bigger seam allowances, as you know, but I like when they're like a bit tight like this, if you know what I mean, like the negative space is tight. So you do what feels best for you. I'm actually gonna do a little bit more because I think, yeah, it's about 1/4 of an inch now. Because of the running stitch, I wanna have a little bit more seam allowance to catch, I suppose. Now I have my orange thread on my needle. I don't have a lot left, but I think I have enough, which is great. And I'm just gonna go ahead and the nice thing about running stitches is they are super fast. So I actually need like a finger grip. I don't know why I don't have one. Hello? There's usually a little finger grip with an eyesight of all times, so I don't know what's happening. I want to make a video talking about all of my favorite sewing supplies, and this would be the top of the list. These little finger grips. I don't know how people sew without them. My hands are just too clammy for that lifestyle, I suppose. So now we can just go ahead and tuck this edge under. Usually what I do with this is I finger press the edges down, sew them down, and then I'll take a hot steamy iron and really press them in just to make everything flat. But I don't have the patience or like wherewithal to run to the iron every time I fold one of these edges over. That's just not gonna happen. And there we go. We have our first corner down, and I actually really like how that running stitch looks. I'll give you a little closer look if you can see that. Very nice. That is one corner. Then I will go in any direction, but I do kind of like to go like next to each other first so I can establish my shapes as opposed to going diagonal. You do whatever feels best for you. So I'm gonna just start at my edge here, do about 1/4 of an inch. All right, and there is the second one down. Now we'll go ahead and do the third. Again, just following that same process. And I will actually just touch base with you when I am finished. All right, I am back. This is finished, and this is what we are looking like. I really enjoy this color combo. It's so cute. And then the little running stitches are so nice. I think I might do more of these just because it has a bit of a cleaner look than the running stitches. I think, or the whip stitches, excuse me. I think they both have their time and place, but I just really enjoy that. I think that looks really nice. That is how I make these. Again, I'm trying to cover this whole area, not like all of these. There's like definitely going to be strips of just regular fabric in between, kind of like jigsawing them all together, but I definitely need to make quite a few more of them. What I also really like about this little block here is it's so easy to do on the couch. You don't really have to measure. It's not super precise, so it's really easy to do on the couch when watching TV or in the car. So I'm definitely going to take this little project downstairs because Emily and I have reality TV to watch tonight and I don't want to miss it. I look forward to hopefully cranking quite a few more of these out. We'll see how far I get tonight, and once I have enough, I'll be able to quickly assemble everything together and have a full spread. So yeah, that is the plan. Hey guys, just checking in here. I fear I may have gotten a little carried away since we last chatted. I told myself that I wanted to go ahead and just place all these out on my mat and see how they were going to be organized, and then I started patchworking, and now I'm like 2/3 of the way done patchworking and I haven't checked in at all, but I am loving how this is looking. So let me go ahead and turn you around and show you what I've been doing. So this is the overlay of how things are looking. You can see this is all attached here. So what I first did here was I placed my little crosses on my cutting mat here just to see where they would exist in space. And after that, I had all of this negative space, kind of like you're seeing over in this direction. I have just been piecing together these little crosses with different strips and squares and different shapes of the scraps of all the other fabric. And I'm piecing it together in a way which is very much doing the next right thing. Like I don't really have a full plan. I just started in this section, for example, and then I branched out here, and then I branched up, and then I branched up to this whole section. So it's very like intuitive. That is how things are looking at the moment, and I just have the right side to do. This didn't take very long. It was probably about an hour or two of dedicated sewing, and this is it's been a fun problem-solving project for sure. So yes, that's where we are with that. I'm leaving it for now because I'm actually about to do some traveling. I'm about to head to the airport in about an hour, honestly. I need to get myself together. I'm headed to Minnesota. I still want to work on this project while I'm traveling, but I do not want to take a bunch of pieces with me. So that part of the project is going to be staying here while we're gone, but I am going to bring the other whole half of this board, which is actually like the letters, the yes and no, all of those little appliques that will go on top of that background. I need to work on as well. So this is my little bag that I've packed with all my sewing materials. Don't ask me why I like using Ziploc bags so much. I don't know. It is just, I think, the Midwesterner in me. I grew up in a Ziploc bag household, so I do like storing things in them. But yeah, I digress on my little side quest of justifying my use for Ziploc bags. I do reuse these ones over and over again. That is why they're a little foggy, but I just have a couple of things. So I have the fabric that I'm gonna use for the appliques themselves. This is just like a flaxy, very natural kind of like cotton linen blend. I actually unboxed this in a previous video not too long ago. I got it from Snuggly Monkey, and I just really enjoy this fabric a lot. It's kind of like muslin, but it's a little bit thicker than muslin, but I really love like the natural kind of color to it, and that you can see all these like little specks of things going on like that is really nice to me. So that's what I plan on using for the appliques themselves. We have a small oval embroidery hoop, which I usually always forget. So I'm glad that I didn't forget it this time, but I almost did. And then this is our little box of treasure. So this is my little sewing box. I have a couple of them. You've probably seen. I usually just put like one project in a box at a time. So I'm not sure what color I want to use for the lettering, but these are the two that I'm kind of deciding between. They're both size 5 DMC pearl cotton. And when I'm doing lettering, I have found that I just really prefer to have like a thicker thread as opposed to like an embroidery floss or a size 8 pearl cotton. I really enjoy this larger size. And so I just went through my stash of what I have, and you know, I have a lot of this 733 color. This is like my bread and butter at this point. I love this color, but I'm not sure how that chartreuse will show up on this light colored fabric. So just in case it doesn't show up well at all, I have this kind of like silvery taupey color. It's kind of like a mix between silver and purple. It's like a smoky lavender purple, if that makes sense. But I didn't want to use straight black because I felt like that would be a little bit too harsh with the color palette that we have going on. So I opted for this instead. If the chartreuse is just a little bit too pale, I will opt for this, I think. But these are the only threads I'm bringing, quite literally. So I have these, I have a couple of sewing needles, I have air erasable markers, which are a necessity, a little pair of scissors, and then I also have a gua sha in here just to like massage my hands and stuff. I need to finish packing, and you guys are the last thing that I need to pack. Yeah, I will probably touch base with you once I am in Minnesota. Hey everyone, I know I said I would check in with you when I'm back in Minnesota, and even though it is not technically untrue, I'm actually in the airport on my way back to North Carolina now. It was a very busy trip that kind of went in some ways that I didn't expect, so I actually did not do much sewing at all until the ride back to the city today. I'll go ahead and show you in a minute what I was working on, but yeah, busy trip. To keep it frank, it was a celebration of life for my grandmother. Yeah, just spent a lot of time with family and with my mom, and her and I had like the best day yesterday, but it was just a time for spending it with other people and not so much being alone and sewing. Like, I was not alone hardly at all on this trip. But yeah, I did some sewing in the car. Let me go ahead and pull that out and I'll show it to you. So like I mentioned, I got some lettering done. I have B, C, D, E, and F. B, C, D, E, F, G done. I did not do A because I did not like how I wrote it. But I got that done all in about 2 hours, and I ended up using the chartreuse thread. As you can see, my mom said she could read it totally fine. Like, that thread wasn't too light for it. Yeah, I'm just handwriting these letters in some kind of cursive font. I grabbed a reference off the internet just to make sure I was doing cursive correctly, but yeah, so I've been working on that, and I have a couple of hours to my flight. My parents insisted that we get to the airport early, so yeah, and that's totally fine. I can keep myself busy. I have my Kindle, I have my sewing, I have more than enough to entertain me until it is time to head back on our plane. That is the update for now. I'm looking forward to getting home and continuing on this project. And yeah, I think that's all I have. So I'm gonna cue the B-roll version of myself, and I will chat with you once we're back in North Carolina. We are obviously back in the studio, back in home base. So I thought we could knock out the remaining part of this pendulum mat, like the base of it, together here. But yeah, I think if we really stuck to it and got some things done, I think we can finish it in the next sitting here. So to prep, I am just plugging in my clothing iron in the other room that I use to open up all my seams. And I have some fabric scraps and I have ambition. So with that being said, let me turn you around and let's get started on finishing the base of this mat. Okay, so here we are. You'll have to forgive the state of my desk. It is pretty chaotic at the moment. I'm always craving more space, but this is where things are at. We left off with this whole 2/3 of the mat done, and earlier today I went ahead and patched this together and I patched this piece together just to kind of remind myself how I'm doing things. I believe I mentioned this, but I was placing these little pieces kind of around this cutting mat just to see where I liked them and how I wanted them to be placed. And from there, I've just been sort of building this out. For example, this bottom piece here was in the corner and this other piece up here was just a little bit higher. So what I did is I attached a piece of chartreuse linen to make this piece as wide as this piece, and then to join them together I used this piece of pink linen. That's what I've been doing throughout this whole process. It's really just puzzle piecing things together to make your edges line up and to continue on the pattern of making them a big patchwork piece. And there's so many different ways to do patchwork. I mean, you've seen it on my channel several times, so I know this is probably a little redundant in some ways, but I think it is always helpful to have some kind of example. I scooted that other piece out of the way because I don't think we really need it for now. But one thing I always try to do is I try to make some interesting lines. So for example, if we have this lined up, we have a couple of seams here. These two pieces are really close to each other, like at the same level. But if we just move it up just a smidge, you can see there is a little bit of height differentiation here. And to be able to make this work, we need to attach something down here to fill in this negative space. Also, what I've been doing is I've just been pulling random pieces from the stash that I was working with to make this kind of work and flow together. Not like a science to it, it's kind of just whatever is in front of me and whatever works. I think this like stripy fabric might actually be nice down here because I'm not seeing a lot of that in this corner as it currently stands. And here's a scrap that I had. So if I just attach this here, I can go ahead and, you know, fill in that negative space. So that's what I'll do. And I am just roughly guesstimating here, so I probably need maybe like that much. I can always trim it off if there's, you know, overhang or if it's too much. That is that, and then I just need to trim it so it's the same width. Go ahead and line that up. And most of the time, I'm not even using pins to pin things together for this because it's pretty quick. So yeah, I will just go ahead and stitch this down. All right, and now what I will do is I'll go ahead and iron this seam open so it lays flat and, you know, we have our seam done. Okay, we are back. We have that piece attached. Let's see how we're looking here. This lines up really well. One thing I think I might want to utilize with this piece here that I was thinking about before I stepped away earlier today. But this piece naturally has a really interesting curve to it, if you can kind of see that on the camera. Like if I line up the edges here, you can see this curve, and I might really just want to emphasize that on this piece And if I were to attach them as they are now, I would probably lose that curve. So I think what I might do is I might find a piece, like a long skinny piece that I can just attach here, emphasize the curve, and then go ahead and attach it to this. So I just found this strip and it is the perfect length. I swear I'm not doing this intentionally. That was just pure luck. I believe I showed this in, oh, what vlog was it that I showed this in? I honestly don't even remember what video it was, but I showed you how to do a curve in that video, but I'll just go ahead and show you again. So I'm just gonna snip this right angle off and kind of just create a little gentle curvy line there. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our fabric, put it like this, and then use our little marker here to trace this out, like so. And then we're gonna cut away at this information along here. And for some folks, this might seem kind of redundant because a lot of this fabric is gonna end up being covered up later with all the applique letters, but I enjoy doing this so much and I look at it as like practice for future patchworks I'm gonna do as well. So, you know, I'm happy to do it. So after we trim that away, then we'll go ahead and just start pinning. And this is a pretty gentle curve, so I think it should be relatively straightforward to pin this. Like, we don't have to do anything too crazy. All right, so that is what we're looking like. I'm gonna go ahead and sew this down, and I will check back in once I've ironed open the seams for this, because I think the result will be pretty cool. Okay, we are back and the seam has been ironed open, and now you can see this gorgeous little curve that's happening. Like I said, it's a very gentle curve, but otherwise this would just be a straight line, and I think I need to do a little bit better job of ironing, like right here, so I'll probably jump back and do that. But once we are done with this, I will probably trim this section away here so it is uber thin and narrow, because I just love like a little thin peekaboo. And then I will go ahead and sew this piece to this piece with just like a regular straight-ish line, probably, just so we can get everything, all of our information in without any problems. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and then I will check back in with you again. And now we are attached here, so that is great. It did end up a little bit lower on this side than this side somehow. I'm not really sure how that happened, but I'm not gonna sweat it. I will just probably trim this away later. If we just put this here and then move this over and add our larger piece. I think it goes like this, is how I had it orientated. You can see now we're kind of getting a full picture, a fuller picture. So I just have this little section left to do, and that is it. So I think what I might do is I might go into time-lapse mode and just tackle this really quickly and see if I can get this done. I think this gave you a pretty good idea of how I'm doing things. I really am just piecing it together and then making sure I have straight lines where I can connect the larger pieces to each other to make an even bigger piece. If you have any questions about this, feel free to let me know. Otherwise, like I said, I'm gonna go into time-lapse mode and see if I can knock this upper corner out really quick, and then we should be good to go.
The trail is so full of twists and turns. You tell me to slow down, but I just don't seem to learn. The earth shifts beneath our feet, it seems, so I'm glad to be on your team.
When travel's a calling and sleep is rare, there's nothing that's better than knowing that you're there. You can't make a jelly with just one bean. I'm glad to be on your team. No jerseys required, no rulebook desired. It's us against the world. The ref can call offside the whole day through. This team is me and you.
All right, everyone, we have our full spread down. I think it looks so great. I love how it turned out. It's a little bit bigger than my mat, which I think is totally fine. I really enjoy how this looks, and I actually made a long strip of fabric using these scraps. And in case I wanted to, I could put a little border around the entire thing, just in case I need to make it a little bit bigger. But I'm gonna see if I can get away with this size for now with my letters, which I also have finished. Everybody is ready to go on the mat. You can see how maybe they would lay, and also why I think it may need to be a little bit larger, just because these letters are going to be pretty tight on here. I want, 13 going this way and then 13 going this way. That is a future thing for me to figure out. I'm not sure how that will go, but all in all, I'm really satisfied with how this mat ended up turning out like, and I'm excited to finally applique these letters on there. Hello again. Hi. You may notice we're not in a usual part of the house for my videos or for filming, but I'm in the living room right now because we actually have a very special guest here. This is Erwin. We are puppy swapping with him. So Bentley is at his mom and dad's house. I know, I'm talking about you. And we have, no. And we have him for 2 weeks. So Bentley is over there and he is here. Excuse you. Don't bark at me, please. He's a very sweet boy. He's a little bit older than Bentley too, so I definitely feel like we got the good end of this deal because Bentley is still very much a rambunctious puppy, and Erwin is really coming into his own. That's Erwin. That's why I'm down here. So I'm just trying to make sure that he's comfortable and that he feels safe and has somebody around. So you might see him in the next Stitch Witch vlog as well. So I just wanted to check in because I have gotten a little bit carried away. And I do this sometimes with these sewing projects because I'm not quite sure if something's going to work. And then I start it to make sure that it works, and then I get carried away because I'm having fun and I do a lot more work than I would have liked to without showing you guys first. But I have started to applique the letters onto my pendulum board. And this is where we're at. So I'm like 3/4 of the way there, as you can see. And my main concern with this is that the letters were going to be too big for the board. Like once, the edges were folded under and those kinds of things, like I was just fearful that this was not going to work. It was going to be, the size was going to be off. And as you can see, it's like pretty perfect. So I added a little bit of edging around my board just to give it another 2 inches approximately of length and width. So that seems to be the sweet spot. So what I did is once I was done stitching all of my letters, I just cut them out into general little rectangle shapes. These are just the letters I have left. So you can see that they're just as such. And I'm actually quilting them onto this board. So I do want to do quilting as well. I think I wasn't sure if I wanted to do quilting lines, but I really enjoy the result of this. I'm not sure if it's going to be able to tell here in this like low lighting, but these letters have a really puffy like 3D quality to them. It's really quite nice, which is what I was going for. And then you can see on the back maybe their 3-dimensional nature. If that wasn't very good representation, I'll have to give you some close-ups once everything is said and done. But yeah, it's been pretty easy. So what I did is I just tacked down the 4 cardinal directions first. So I did like the letter G, the letter A, the letter M, and the letter T. So I had like all 4, and then I've just been filling in the gaps as I go. So been really seamless, pretty easy. And I'm looking forward to finishing that and then doing the central yes and no circle applique in the middle. It is Wednesday morning. I'm about to head out to work, and we have puppy class with Erwin tonight, so I'm not gonna be able to sew tonight, but hopefully tomorrow I'll be able to finish these last 6 appliques here, and then we can go ahead and get started on the centerpiece, quilt it, bind it, and then we'll be done. Really pleased with how this turned out. It's always nice when you have an idea and it like comes to fruition and it's actually working the way you imagined it, because it doesn't happen super often. So yeah, it's just a nice little surprise, I suppose. But yeah, that's where things are at now, and I will see you tomorrow probably. Yeah, I'll see you tomorrow. All right. No one is allowed to judge my bangs because my haircut tomorrow cannot come soon enough. But hi, it is clearly a new day. It's a little bit later in the week. It's actually Friday. It's actually the weekend. So I am just sitting down here to do a little afternoon sewing, and I am feeling very eager to finish the applique portion of this pendulum mat. I have not added any more letters since we talked earlier this week because I wanted to show you how I was doing it, but I did start on the central little applique section where you can see the yeses and nos. I also added a little star in the middle here. So once that is finished and all the letters are added on and this central compass is added on, the applique will be finished. I can do some quick quilting on it, do the binding, and it will be done, which is amazing, which is really exciting. But like I said, I am very eager to get this applique finished. So without further ado, let's go ahead and switch up the angle and take a look at how I'm appliquing these letters on. Here we are with our trusty angle, and as you can see, everything is done around but this little corner section here. So that is our main prerogative at the moment. I have my letters here. You know, we have Z, U, V, W, X, and Y. Not in that order, obviously. And what I've been doing is, like I said, I did the 4 cardinal directions first. So I did G, T, M, and A over here, which is underneath this thing. And then I've been filling it in quadrant by quadrant just to make sure things are spaced out as evenly possible, because I'm kind of doing this like one time and one time only. So I don't have a lot of room for error. Now that I have these 2 quadrants here, I'm trying to fill in this space here. If we go ahead and just place our letters, W, X, Y, and Z. So we have everybody fanned out here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the Z first, because once I add the Z, I have 5 letters remaining in this space, and it'll be pretty easy for me to figure out where they're going to go, because we'll have like a middle letter and then 2 on either side. And so what I've been doing is I'm literally just kind of guesstimating where this is gonna go by tucking my little edge under here, and I'm enjoying a little bit of negative space. In some areas you can see it's very small negative space in between the letters, but it still looks pretty good to me. So I'm gonna go ahead and just pin this Z here, and then I will go ahead and stitch him down. So I am just doing little whip stitches all the way around with a thread that's a similar color. I could have gone the orange route for this, but it just felt more natural for me to choose a color that matched the fabric. And whip stitching these down is pretty quick. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and then I will catch up with you when I'm finished. All right, so you can see that that has been appliqued down, and with these like square shapes, when you tuck the edges under, it just creates this like puffy kind of effect because there's fabric underneath here, and I really enjoy that. I'm trying to emphasize that here. If you prefer to have a flatter applique, I suppose you could trim those off, but what I also like about this is it tucks those little corners that you would have as a scrap if you cut them. It just tucks them underneath and utilizes them in a way where it kind of creates this like 3-dimensional effect. I really hope the puffiness of the appliques is translating over camera, because it is quite nice. So that is the Z. Now what I'll do from there is, because I have 5 letters left, the central letter will be W, and that can just live somewhere in the middle ground between these 2 spaces, which is how I've been doing this whole thing. So I can, like I said, evenly space them out as much as I can. And I'm also kind of paying attention to the letter over here to make sure that they are at the same height or a similar height, so they can kind of exist on the same playing field. But I think this will be fine for this one, so I'm gonna go ahead and pin that. Then I would stitch this one down, and then I would fill in these 2 letters here, and then I'll fill in these 2 letters here, and then I'll fill in my little compass, finish that, and put that here. That is where we are at, and that's what things are looking like. I hope this makes sense. It's very simple, but in a way to kind of make things space out evenly, you have to divide them up into quadrants or whatever. But you know, quadrants for this makes the most sense. So that is what I'm doing. And it's been really effective and helpful for me because I haven't had to replace any of these letters. The only one that I redid was this one, this T, because I left too much negative space around it. and it was just taking up a lot of real estate that wasn't necessary. So otherwise everything else is tacked down on the first try, and it's been really successful. I'm gonna continue with this. I think I might take this project outside and let Erwin be in the backyard and just hang out with him and, you know, see what he's up to. So I think that's the plan. Go ahead and finish this up and touch base with you when we are on to our next step. All right, everyone, it has been a couple of days. As you can maybe see, the hair has been cut. It has been reshaped and trimmed. I'm feeling so much better. That was yesterday, and I actually have some exciting news, is that I actually finished our pendulum mat while I was at the hair salon yesterday. I went ahead and finished the applique on Friday, like we discussed, and everything is tacked down. And then yesterday when I was in the lobby waiting for my turn to get my hair cut, because Emily went first, I went ahead and finished the binding on this, and this is how we're looking. I'm really, really happy with it. It's really nice when things turn out how you want them to, and I'm just really happy with the three-dimensional quality of these appliques. I think them being quilted lends themselves to that. I love the patchwork, I love the color scheme, I love the size. I really just enjoy everything about it. All right, everyone, it has been a couple of hours, so it is like early evening time now, and I am ready to get started and see how this pendulum mat works for us. So yeah, I'm gonna show you glimpses of my little session, but it mostly will be very private. But yeah, let's go ahead and dive into it, I suppose. Okay, y'all, and that is a wrap. The pendulum mat works. It works very well. I got some very concise and clear answers yesterday to specific questions, which was really nice, and I look forward to using it more with my haunted doll. And overall, this was a really fun video for me to make. I hope you enjoyed it too. I know this summer I've been a little infrequent with posting. I've been trying to post every 2 to 4 weeks, but it has just been a really busy summer, and I hope you can understand that. And although the summer has been really busy and it's all been really fun things, I look forward to hopefully slowing down in the fall and embracing some slower energy in my life and just taking the time to really enjoy the moment and enjoy my time and make videos for you all. That's like all I want for the rest of the year, honestly, is just to be able to make videos, make quilts, share about other little hobbies that I'm into and all those kinds of things. But it's really fun when I can take a moment to make a video where I'm kind of combining those hobbies like this one here. So thank you so much for watching. I really enjoyed the process of making this pendulum mat and connecting with spirit in a different way. I'm gonna go ahead and add some B-roll of my pendulum mat now too, just to have some extra close looks and for you to see all the little details, because I'm quite proud of them. Even though this is about a specific doll and making a pendulum mat for them, I thought we would end the video with a little bit of a doll haul, because coincidentally enough, I did purchase a new antique doll for my collection, and it actually just arrived this afternoon. So I would like to unbox this with you, as I've not seen it yet. It's sitting in a little cocoon on my floor. So let's go ahead and open this up together. So the box that she came in was a little worse for wear, but I think she's fine. So I'm just gonna go ahead and unwrap her. All right, so this is her. She's actually an Armand Marseille doll, the first of mine in my collection, and I just really enjoy everything about her, to be honest with you. Armand Marseilles are a German doll, I believe, and I just love the look of their faces. She does have eyes, but ironically enough, they seem to have fallen out of their sockets in transit, so They are just bobbling around in her head for now, so I'll have to see if I can fix that or find out a way to fix that. This may be foreshadowing some doll repair videos in our future, who knows. But yeah, I loved her hair, I loved her blush, I loved her outfit with the nice little dress with the moth-eaten sleeves. I think she's just very darling. This is the newest doll to the collection. She does not come with a spirit, but nonetheless, she will be a cherished new addition to my little doll family. I think I'll actually use her for the thumbnail because, as I told you, my haunted doll does not want to be in the thumbnail, respectfully. I don't know. We'll see what actually ends up coming out of this. That is all from me for now. So if you stuck this far into the video, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I mean, every time I say it, you guys absolutely mean the world to me, and I love making videos for you, so thank you for watching. If there's anything you'd like to see from me in the future, please let me know that down in the comments, and I would also love to know what you're working on. It's honestly one of my favorite parts of this whole thing is hearing from you guys and listening in and taking a peek on what you're working on. Y'all are so creative as well, so it is just a nice gift to be able to exchange that back and forth. But yes, that is it for me for now. I hope you are taking care of yourself, and I hope you're having a great summer. Make sure you wear your SPF, make sure you're drinking a lot of water, and I will see you very, very soon. But until next time, take care, guys. Bye.